Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Molly McGurr. I'm the Events and Programs Manager for Traverse Connect. And we just want to thank you all so much for being here with us today. This forum is for you. So this is a chance for you to ask any and all questions, concerns, comments that you might have. We have experts here with us today ready to answer any of your questions. If there's anything we're not able to answer for you within this forum, we will follow up with you after this call to make sure we're able to provide that answer for you. How you ask questions is we do have a chat function located at the bottom of your screen. So you can go ahead and throw any questions, comments in that chat area. It does get addressed to everyone. If you're not comfortable with everyone seeing the question that you're asking, there is a little button that says to. If you click on it, you can send it specifically to myself, Molly. That means only I will see the question. I never read anyone's name. I just only ask the question. So please make sure if you have anything that you're putting it out there for us to see. Also, this forum will be recorded. So if you want to reference anything, we will have this posted to our website 24 hours after this call today. So on that note, I am now going to turn it over to Warren Call. Warren, thanks for being here with us today.
Good morning, Molly. Thanks for that. And thanks for everyone for joining us today. This forum is one of many industry-focused forums that we're offering on a continuing basis to help you plan for, hopefully, an eventual recovery and reopening of your business. So we are very glad to have some expert speakers with us today. And it's my pleasure to introduce first Kristen Sayers, founder of the Michigan Association of Beauty Schools, as well as Terry Krupinski, the MABP Vice President. First, Kristen graduated from Michigan State University with a bachelor's degree in textile design and merchandising management. Afterwards, she continued her education and attended the Douglas J. Aveda Institute of Lansing, and it was Hair for Life after that. Kristen has been a platform artist now for 13 years of her 15-year career. She has launched cutting, formal styling, and color courses throughout the US and Canada, while running K Bella Hair Studio and Spa in Brighton, Michigan, with a team of 27 ladies and an apprenticeship program. She is the founder of the educational group The Hair Trainer, the Kemen US Director of K Now, the Color and Cutting Collection straight from Italy, and a director for the Stylist Culture Collective. She believes that education and hair together are the key components to creating success in this industry. Uniting hairdressers has always been her goal, but she realized uniting the entire beauty industry in her home state of Michigan was more important, especially as deregulation was becoming a real problem. That was when she and her husband, Ben Sayers, began the Michigan Association for Beauty Professionals. In 2017, she started a position to add CEU hours to strengthen the fact that we need to be licensed as an industry. Now the group is working to help salon and spas go back to work safely during COVID-19. Before I welcome Kristen, I will also introduce our additional speaker. Terry Krupinski is the Michigan Association of Beauty Professionals Vice President. She started her adventure in the beauty industry as a receptionist while she earned a degree in education from Eastern Michigan University. After graduating, she went on to teach when an opportunity to help a growing salon through its expansion presented itself. Terry held the position of general manager of a team of 100 people in a 12,000 square foot facility for one of Michigan's premier day spas and salons for 15 years. During that time, she also earned a master's degree in human resources management so she could extend her knowledge in the leadership of people. In 2015, Terry left the industry to pursue an opportunity in corporate America as a talent acquisition leader. But she couldn't stay away from the beauty industry long, and in 2017 opened Takari Salon in downtown Plymouth with her business partner and sister, Carrie. Terry strongly believes that beauty professionals and owners need to support each other and come together to help elevate this great industry. Chris and Terry, thank you for being here. And Chris, I will turn it over to you. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really am thankful that you guys reached out to us and that we got to be here today on this call. I love meeting new people in this industry, especially my Michiganders. So it's very exciting. So Yeah, I just want everyone to realize that the MABP, if you haven't heard of us, the Michigan Association for Beauty Professionals, Terry's going to put the email addresses for us so you can contact us directly. We respond very quickly, and she's also going to be putting the website. So the first thing that I need for everyone to do is make sure that you join. It's free, and the reason is, and let me just give you guys a little insight of like why we started this organization and why we're pushing it so much right now. And that's because we really want to unite our industry. We want to unite everyone in the beauty industry. So that's including anyone that works at a salon, spa, barbershop. And we want to bring everyone together because, as you guys all know, and the reasons you're probably on this call is because there are so many things we don't know, right? There's so many answers and questions that we have and answers that we need, right? So we are trying to get those answers. And part of the plan of being on this call is I want to know more. I want to know more of what people need to know and give you anything that I've found and that I have for myself that me and Terry have found. And we just want to unite everyone first and foremost, because if we don't unite everyone, then we're never going to be able to actually get the information out and have all the information in one place. We want it organized. We want to be able to where you guys can find everything from your state boards to the licensing and Lara, so that every answer is right here and in one spot from our website or one click away when you talk to us. So that's really our goals and our ambitions. So I would love to start off, maybe, unless Terry, you have anything to say, but maybe we could start off with some questions and go that direction.
Yes, of course. So I guess this is for both of you. What are some of the biggest challenges with the industry returning back to work? And do you see any positives that might come out of this?
So I think the biggest challenge, as we all know, is that our profession directly touches, I mean, obviously, we directly touch people, and we also are not in the medical field. So that puts us in a really delicate area. And I think that the hardships that a lot of people are having is, you know, let's just be real, right? We have people on one side that, you know, selling hair color maybe door to door or curbside. You know, our organization doesn't take sides. We try to be really neutral. So it doesn't matter what I agree and how I run my salon. What matters is that we take everyone as a whole. So we're not taking any sides here. I just want to put that out there first and foremost. But I think the challenges are, should I do something or should I not do something to keep my business in line? And what can I do to, you know, stay afloat and sell, but at the same time, what's ethically right and what's wrong? So I think the biggest challenges that a lot of hairdressers are just facing is that we don't have a specific answer, because it's really, there's no laws or regulations regarding a lot of this. And so I think anything good that could come out of this, though, I think you did mention, I think that this is really a time where we realize what we need in our industry. And I think that's being together as one so that we have a better understanding of how we do stuff. If we were already together before this pandemic started and we were already all united in one group, I think it would have been easier for us to make decisions and help people understand the decisions that they're making, whether they're right or wrong in their industry.
Perfect. Yes, definitely. So this is the question that we're seeing a lot of. And do you have any tips or tricks on how to keep your website and social media platforms updated? What are some of the information that people should be including on there to make sure that the communication is clear, you know, to anyone who might be going to their website to see, can we make an appointment? What's going to be put in place to ensure that I'm being safe?
That's a really good question. And we talk about this a lot. I think it's really important for everyone to realize that you have to have communication with your client, but also in these times, we have to be very careful on how much communication we are doing, because they're getting bombarded by everyone right now, right? So if you're sending out email campaigns too quickly back to back, it could actually, you know, lose subscribers and so forth. So what we're really recommending people to do is make sure for your website, you want to make sure that you have exactly maybe a pop-up or so forth of something of what's happening, that you're closed, and until further notice, you'll be rebooking. I think that a lot of stylists were trying to rebook every time we found out that there was a new date to go back. But I think it's important, and it's going to cause less work on us and less strain on the clients in calling, to just wait until we get that actual open date. As of right now, you know, we think that we could be open May 28th, but we don't know for sure. So just keeping clients aware that we do not actually know these answers. And as soon as we know, and that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to figure that out so that we give everyone ample time to book their clients. So making sure that your website has, you know, exactly how you're rebooking your clients and maybe a form of how you're going to do it. If you have a list of whether or not you're booking, which clients you want to book and are priority clients and so forth. Are you moving your schedule and shifting it down? Just how you're doing it, I think, is important for clients to know. And other great tips, I think, if no one has, is letting your clients know how they can help you. So maybe starting a fundraiser. My salon's DDA, downtown district, they started a patronosity. So sharing that with clients so they know they can help. Telling your clients that they can buy gift cards and having a link maybe on your website where they could purchase gift cards. There's a lot of associations, and if anyone ever wants to reach out, and I can talk about these specifically, but there are companies out there that are giving you commission if you sell through their website. So you can link your website to these other companies who sell the product, so you don't have to do anything and you get commission. So our salon has been receiving anywhere from $100 to $200 in commission checks from multiple companies. And so clients want to help you right now. So giving them these options to help you. And then let's say another way to help would be, you know, to just post about, you know, sharing your message and so forth. So I think, and then posting all of that also on your social media pages. And, you know, maybe showing like what you're doing right now, showing them, you know, still posting on social because you still want to stay very active. You know, we see a lot of people doing at-home videos, showing people how to style their hair, COVID hairstyles. There's so many great ideas out there. And I think that making sure that you're just relevant and you're just keeping it up with your clients, they want to see you. We're the ones we're finding that they're missing the most. If you guys read a lot of Facebook posts and Instagram posts. So I mean, those are some of the things that we're doing. And if you guys have any other option of ideas, put them in the chat box. We love to hear this because we want to share this with all of our members.
Yeah, Chris, I can definitely relate to missing my hairstylist so much. Going this long without one, ooh, that is tough. You did mention a little bit earlier that something about curbside pickup, which is something that we're seeing a lot of right now across all industries. Obviously, it's a little bit harder with this specific industry, but is there any tips or tricks that you might have? Because, you know, a lot of salons do sell products also. So do you have any recommendations for someone who's might not done it before or someone who's on the fence considering, is this worth to do it? What are your thoughts on that?
So I have a very strong opinion on my thoughts. And if you know my history, I work directly with color companies and I work directly with distributors and I teach, and I've done it for many, many years. But at the end of the day, my opinion doesn't matter. This association, we want to speak for everyone. So what I can tell you is this. For products, I think that if you can do it safely and do curbside pickup, maybe do once a week where you can like actually get a list to your clients. Maybe that's in your email campaign. You get a list, you have them pay with Zelle Pay, Venmo, PayPal, and then you could go and you could set the bags with their names right outside the door and watch them as they pick it up. They've already paid. So that's a great option. Now let's get into the little dirty, dicey area of hair color. So without giving you my opinion, I want to just give you guys because I get this question a lot. I get this email to me on a daily basis. I actually had 3 people this morning ask me this question. So I'm going to just explain to you guys. So there's professional hair color. When we as salon owners, anyone that works in the salon, spa, whatever, when you purchase certain products, there are certain products out there that are only supposed to be sold to professionals. And when you purchase those products, you actually are in a contract with a company saying that you're only purchasing them. You're not actually reselling them. So it's not like a shampoo where you're actually buying it as a distributor to sell to clients. You're buying it to use professionally. So when you so is it legal or is it not legal to sell your professional hair color to your clients during this time? Technically, if you call Laura or you talk to the Board of Cosmetology or you talk to the state of Michigan, there is no law because you are allowed to sell, if you have a tax ID, that you are allowed to sell the product. So when you call and ask, yes, you can sell it. But at the same time, and then the other side of it is that there is no, that you are selling something that you purchased in the first place that was only allowed to be sold from a professional. So when you sell it there, that's where it gets a little dicey. But the company or the actual distributor would have to be the one to come after you because it's not really through the state of Michigan. So that's where it gets a little tricky. And that's why we have a lot of people on two sides. We have the side that wants to sell it, that needs to take care of their clients. And I get it. They want to take care of their clients. They want to take care of them. Their clients are still working. They're desperate. And then you have our other group of people who are like, it's not right, it's morally wrong, you can't do it. If you mix your hair color prior, it's oxidizing. It only lives for 15 minutes in the bowl anyway. So it's not really working to its, stature. If something happens, could I get sued if they got it in their eye? So there's so many factors on both sides. I get it. I'm a salon owner and I have clients email me every day and I want to help them so bad, but then I also have integrity. So I get it. And I don't know if there's an answer. I think at the end of the day, you need to really think about your core values and what your salon or spa or barbershop, whatever it may be, stands for. And you need to make that decision on your own, because I can tell you, and I have told people, and this sometimes gets me in trouble, but there's really no law that action that's going to be taking place unless these big companies and these large companies like Redken, L'Oreal and all of this, unless they actually wanted to go after hairdressers for doing this, I don't see that there actually is going to be anything that happens. So it's all about your integrity and how you feel inside. And that's unfortunately only advice I can give on that.
No, that's a great answer. I think that's going to be really helpful to a lot of people on here. Again, just want to pause really quick to make sure if you guys have questions that you want answered, to make sure you're dropping them in that comment box. But now I would like to kind of move on to the big question about sanitary requirements. Obviously, we know moving forward, we're going to see a ton of changes around that. Is that something that you're kind of able to touch on now, or are we still kind of in that limbo stage of seeing what that might look like in the future?
So that's a really good question. And I wish I could give you just all the answers. I will tell you that our organization and Terry and myself, and we started a lot of committee members. We have a lot of new committee chairs that are helping us. We did come up with a plan of action. It is a beautifully done plan of going back to work safely in our industry. What we did to create this is we looked at, last time I counted, I think I looked at over 27 different back to work plans. So you can imagine how detailed it is. We really didn't want to miss anything because we really want the state of Michigan to all come together and follow the same plan. So when we do go back to work, we stay back to work. That's our biggest concern. So we've come up with an idea of plan that has some mandatory recommendations and then actual just recommendations. Now, this has not been, we're still trying to get to Lansing. We're still trying to get Lansing's attention with this. We still have not had success, but we were on channel 2 yesterday, channel 4 maybe the day before. I'm not sure the exact channel.
Click on Detroit.
Oh yeah, click on Detroit. And then we have some interviews with WHMI, which is a local station in my area, a radio station. And the biggest change is that, what we know now, and let me just be real with you guys, is that what we know is what other states that have gone back and what they have done. And that's really all we know. We do know also that our governor is very conservative compared to other governors. So we feel as though she's probably going to take a similar stand with their back to work plans, like Georgia's and Maine's. Those are two of them that I've actually really dived into. And we think that hers might want to be a little more aggressive. But we also, by doing the research with these, and I've actually talked to salons that have gone back, I was surprised to see, they are strict. They are going back with very strict rules and regulations. And we have to take it, what we have to take into account in our industry is that we already have such great rules and regulations in Michigan that are set in place, where other states don't always have that, so we're very lucky there. The problem is, though, is we've gotten really lackadaisy, and I can tell you on all my trainings, it's very difficult because a lot of stylists don't properly clean and then disinfect. So there's a big difference between all of that. So I highly recommend everyone making all your staff and yourself take like Barbicide and Milady. They have great online education where you can take a test right there and become certified. because those are things we already need to be doing, but not everyone does. I see a lot of brushes touch someone's head and go right back in a drawer. They need to be 10 minutes to be properly disinfected. So we need to make sure that we are reading our rules and current rules and regulations so that we know them very well, and we go back to our beauty school days and we start following those to a T, because a lot of salons unfortunately don't. And I'm even a culprit. I've done it. I'm going to be honest with you, because we just get busy and we've never dealt with a pandemic like this. But then we are going to have things that are going to be temporary that will probably be added on. And that will be things like face masks. And we worry about that because I've had over 10 people reach out to me just this morning. It's crazy that say that they're really worried because the side effects of face masks. So we don't know exactly where this is going, but in Georgia, people are not taking off their face masks once they enter the building. You're not allowed to, the hairdresser or any of the workers or any of the clients. We're seeing that they're still wearing face masks. They're changing their smocks. Laundry's going right into the washing machine versus going into a hamper and then a washing machine for less touching. We just have to realize that we have to be very conscious of our contact. So when we contact something, we need to cleanse. We need to use our hand sanitizer before we touch something else. So we want to make sure that our back to work plan is really making sure that everyone takes into account everywhere they go, and you try to really keep everyone in one space to keep it clean. And there are a lot of things changing. So hand sanitizer is going to be huge because they're finding that the hand sanitizer is more effective than hand washing because people aren't doing it properly. So you're going to be, I have a big feeling that having hand sanitizer in your salon everywhere is going to be huge.
Yeah, so kind of on that face mask that you were just talking about, do you have recommendations for how salons or spas might deal with a customer who comes in who does not want to wear a face mask? They're just refusing. I have a feeling this problem might come up a few times. So what are your recommendations for how to deal with that?
So yeah, we've already been seeing it. I mean, I watched something on Facebook yesterday from a guy standing in front of Menards with 2 police officers holding him, or not holding him, but in front of him. And because he took his mask off in Menards, and he made a big stink about it. And I mean, I get his side and I get Menards' side. I get both sides. I don't know how we're going to handle that. What I think is the best option though for stylists and owners and spa owners, everyone out there. I say stylish because I am one, so it just comes out of my mouth faster. So I apologize, everyone. I'm not trying to take beauty industry, not trying to do that on purpose. But I just want everyone, so what I think is that you have to decide right from the get-go. When we get our open date and we get our plan of action of how we're going back to work, if they even put one into place, we as owners, the owner of the business or the manager, needs to make sure that they decide that right away. They need to decide what their regulations are going to be. And it might be set by the state. So we might not have to be in that predicament. If it's set by the state, that's going to make life so much easier for us because then we don't have to be the bad guy. We can blame it on them, right? And that's just an easier way. If it's not mandated by the state, then you as your manager or owner needs to step up and say, what is my plan? Am I going to allow people in my building without a mask if they can't? And it needs to be posted outside of the building. You need to make sure that it's stated when they book their appointment. So it needs to be stated in multiple places. And I would also probably hang it inside the salon also. So if you plan on, I have a girl that has so many immune deficiencies and so many issues. I don't even know if I can bring her back to work, but if I did, there would definitely, I'm going to just say, I would not allow anyone to take off their masks. But we also have a law in Michigan that states that we have to be able to serve people water. So it gets very dicey. Do people have to go outside to drink the water? So these are all things that you guys all need to really think about now. Use the time now to think about all these things, because these are all things that we need to have figured out before we go back so that we make the right choices so that we don't have that moment of blow up and the cops have to come just like they did at Menards. We need to be strong though. We need to make sure that we really stand by what we believe and you have a reason to back it up. And you stay very neutral and you apologize and, depending on what direction it may be. But you need to have those policies in place prior, and they need to be written on your website, your social, outside of your building, inside of your building, maybe even at your stations. those are my recommendations for that, for sure.
Yeah, those are great recommendations. Someone did comment in and said, as a salon, we have eliminated our waiting room and will be texting our clients when we are ready for them. We have also put up a sanitary station. What are some other things you are doing to play it safe?
Those are awesome. And actually those are in our recommendations for our back to work plan. Terry, I know we worked on this a lot. Do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, I think you touched actually a little bit. That is a great question. And I think those are the kind of things that we are seeing so much of in our Facebook group. And a lot of owners are asking those questions. And right now, any hard decision on any of these things, such as, the dividers or shields or face masks, we're very hesitant to say, yes, invest in this, and this is the plan, because we don't have that concrete answer yet. But some of those recommendations are definitely things that we feel are going to be in some type of going back to work plan, separating the waiting room, at least, so it supports social distancing, but texting clients when, having them text us when they arrive and just calling them in when it's ready, eliminating the reception area, basically either putting cards on file or using some type of PayPal or Venmo to pay to sort of eliminate that. We talked about eliminating how much is brought into the salon, clients only, not their children or additional guests that aren't getting services. Things like, if a child is getting or a minor is getting a service, they only come with one adult and everybody just brings themselves, not bags and purses and drinks, and eliminating any communal areas. But again, we're, like I said, very hesitant to say, okay, this is what it's going to be, because depending on when we open or what the situation may be, will depend on how strict or how many of those things we'll have to implement. But definitely things we need to start thinking about, because in the event that we only get a 5-day notice that, hey, we're going to open now, we have to be ready to put these things into action, depending on what they are.
That was perfect. Thank you. Someone else, I think they're just looking for clarification. It says, after the stay-at-home order, can we open our retail? So May 16th, they're saying that they're sad the salon and spas are not ready to open because they are school, so they have to follow the rules.
Yeah, so that is a question that we actually are still looking into, because technically it's a gray area. So it can be very gray, but technically, because we're a salon or spa or barbershop, I thought that the way I read it was that we would not be able to open. But for just your retail portion, technically, if you read it, there's a possibility, but we're still looking into that. And I actually have an email out to clarify that. So once I get that clarified, maybe I can reach out to Molly and get that information. But I unfortunately don't have it clarified yet, and I don't want to say anything that's wrong. And and that's exactly why we're working so hard, because we should have a very good answer, right? We should have that. So that's why we want to bridge that gap. So we're trying really hard to find those answers. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that means that I'm not the only one confused.
Yeah, so the next question we had is, how can clients wear a mask when it wraps around the back of their head and hair? Logistically, it seems impossible.
So we recommend the ones that just go around the ears. And the clients in Georgia, Van Council, if you can, that's one that you can actually watch. If you go to Robert Cromines, he is on Instagram and Facebook, but I saw it on Instagram. And it actually has an interview with Van Council, who owns huge, massive amounts of salons in Georgia. And I did watch a little bit I watched that whole video, and I did see some photos of his hairdressers doing hair and so forth. And they had just the ones that go around the face and just around the ear on the client. And I saw men's cuts, hair color being done. It actually was pretty impressive. The one area that was a little tricky was when they shampoo. So actually when they're shampooing, and this is kind of in our plan of recommendations, is because this is what a lot of the actual states were doing, is laying and draping towels over clients in shampoo chairs to protect their eyes, because they're, when you're laying them back, you have to worry about the water splattering and so forth. So it seems like it's working in Georgia, and it was actually nice for me to hear salons, you know, and people in Georgia talking about how they actually are like, this isn't so bad. And that made me feel a lot better. So it is possible. Is it going to be easy? Is it going to take us longer? Are we going to make less money? I think so. And I think these are huge things. So that's also why we're working hard, because I think that we're going to need more help, because salons are not going to be able to take the amount of people, because they won't be able to do things as quickly. Those masks are going to help make them slower because it's hot, and they're going to feel suffocated, and they're going to feel a little claustrophobic. So wearing your mask now at home, I know it sounds crazy, but walking around and wearing it at home to get prepared in case we have to wear them, I don't see why we wouldn't want to wear them. Personally, I want to wear one just because I want to stay healthy so I can do as many clients as possible and stay working and not get shut down. Because if we get sick, I have a feeling you're going to get shut down again. So, you know, those are ways to kind of get used to it. And I think that it's going to be challenging, because we all are going to also, you know, a lot of people are wearing the shields too that we're seeing, but those, you know, you have to still wear a mask. So it's just extra protection, mostly for your eyes and for, you know, splatter on your face. But clients wearing the mask, I think it's doable, but I agree that it's going to be a very big challenge. I wish I had a better answer.
Would you almost recommend that, you know, I know PPE is very hard to come across, but if they have the availability, if they're able to keep some of those masks on hand in case a client does show up that might not have the one that goes over their ear, they might not have the one that ties. Is that something that you would recommend for salons and spas to have?
Yeah, and unfortunately, we don't know for sure yet, but talking to many medical professionals and talking to many people in the industry, in other industries, it's seeming like we as a business may have to supply the masks. So if that becomes something that we have to do, and that we are going to do, and some businesses might choose to protect themselves more, what I would recommend is definitely charging a fee so that you pay for them. Now, coming across masks and so forth are going to be very challenging. So you already right now have Premier Beauty, Industry Source, Cosmoprof, Salon Centric, all of these big distributors that are throughout, you know, the United States, that are focused, you know, the ones that are here in Michigan, your sales reps, they are selling this stuff. So if you are in a position to buy things, you know, it would be maybe not a bad time to stock up, but like Terry said, having people purchase too much now when they are not making income and putting themselves deeper in a hole, and then not knowing for sure if they're needing it, I don't want anyone to do that. So that's why we're trying to get answers from Lansing before people spend all this money and they put so much effort into something that they're not sure where it's going. Because I would hate for someone to spend all this money, us get pushed back until September. I mean, I don't say that happening. I'm just being like very like vague and just saying what if, and then having less money and income. So I just don't want everyone to spend too much money when we have so many unknown answers. But I do we're working really hard. So we're really hoping to have answers by next week for everyone. I would say though that it's going to be very likely that you would probably want to have those masks that go around the ears, that are more of a surgical mask like that don't go around the whole head, because that is going to be the only way to be able to do the job. And I've seen people making them out of socks and so forth and doing really easy at home ones. But again, talking to medical professionals, we don't know if we're going to be able to, you know, have surgical ones or so forth. I do want to say though, there are companies like Industry Source, for instance, if you are a client of theirs, they make PPE and they are the manufacturer. So if you guys are one of their clients or you want to be, I would reach out to them, because what they're doing is it's a unique program, but I just want you guys to know about it. And it is where if you're one of their clients, they make enough PPE to always have it on hand for you. So you'll never run out, because they're actually the manufacturer of it. And so they're going to be taking their clients, knowing exactly how much staff you have. It's called a Diamond member, and it's free, but you have to follow there's a lot to become a Diamond, like of what you sell and what you use in your salon and so forth. But it might be something that everyone would want to reach out to if they're worried about getting PPE, because I know I was, and now I feel a lot better knowing that I have a company that's only making it for their clients and only selling it to their clients, and not taking any new ones after that. So I know I'll have enough PPE for my staff at least. And that does, take a little bit of a burden off. So I can give more information on that too, but I do know that company is doing that. So that's pretty cool because I don't know any other company that's doing that specifically for our industry.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's going to be a huge, huge resource. If for some reason someone is still not able to get PPE, at the top of the chat box, we did include a link to our Traverse Connect page where we have been working with locals around Northern Michigan who are also providing PPE. So you feel free to check that out there as well. So do you have, and you might not have the answer to this yet, which is okay, but will there be a limit on the amount of people who will be able to be inside these salons and spas at a given moment?
So we have this question that we have been, me and Terry, oh, I can see her face. Terry, what do you think about this? We still are so unknown about this.
We are. I wish there was some, let's see, there's math formulas based on square footage. There is based on your whole staff size. Do you go to 25% staff, 50% staff? There is no magic answer. I think there are definitely some things out there that are giving us a little insight into what possibly could be more or less kind of a square footage calculator in order to keep the distance between everybody, but it's really we actually left it up in our recommendation. We'd really like to get the state's feedback on, what they're saying to some other organizations or some other industries, because, if we said half the staff, but it's a 3,000 square foot building and there's only 10 people in it, that doesn't make much sense, right? More people could work. So maybe it's just a matter of keeping enough people in the building that besides the service provider and their client, that everyone is at least, that 6 feet apart. But there is definitely not, I would say if, just in thinking about if you are one of the salons that are booking, trying to book every time there is, a reschedule, I would maybe look at expanding hours and weeding some people out, especially if they're very close together. At least that way you're not jam-packed for that first week trying to get in all of these people, because it's definitely looking like we're headed in the direction of a thinner staff. But as far as guidelines on that, it's really, like I said, there's just so many opinions out there, and we're just not sure what the right answer is.
Yeah, and I think that one thing, and like Terry said, mostly everything, for like my staff, we're really trying to stagger. So no more having, midday shifts. We're trying to go to a morning shift and a night shift, and really staggering the shifts out. So that way there's the least amount of people possible. And, I think as long as you get with your staff now and figure out that plan, make it the plan of the least amount of people being in the building as possible is what I would recommend, because you still got clients, you still got your receptionist possibly. I don't know, everyone's space is so different, if you're, a bigger salon or a smaller or by yourself, but I do have a feeling it's definitely going to be reduced by at least half, at least. So, really working with your staff now and figuring out hours and way to stagger, maybe even opening 7 days a week. If you're not currently, anything that you can think of, start planning that plan of action now, so that with your staff, so that way you have an idea of how it's going to work. For people who work by themselves, it's going to be very easy, but making people sit in the car before their appointment time and so forth. So, but as soon as we get any information about that though, too, we're going to be posting it everywhere.
Yeah, that'll be great. So let's kind of shift this conversation to employees, as we are getting a few questions, and I had some as well. This is a big one that we're getting across every single industry we're doing this with. And the question is, what do you do when one of your employees is making more from unemployment than they would if they were at work? How do you handle that?
I giggle because it's so true, right? It's so weird. There are some people that are making a lot less on unemployment, and there are some part-timers who I'm like, girl, you work 1 day a week and you're making how much money on unemployment? Like, how did that happen? So I can understand. Now, here's what's going to happen. We are going to have to figure out what's going to happen when they actually open salons, because technically the money that we're receiving is because we've been put out of work by the government, by these by the state order. So, or the executive order, excuse me. So it's going to be, that is a question on my list when I get to talk to Lansing. There's too many. I don't even know if I'll be able to get them all answered. But one of my questions is once we go back to work, once our salon is open, does that mean that the unemployment then changes? So for instance, if you're an independent contractor, oh, okay, so you already, yeah. So I mean,
yeah, I did get that. So
you
yeah,
did get that
I'm
answer?
sorry. It would, once they've been called back to work and we are no longer mandated to be closed, then then we would be able to report that they have work, and they need to too. So that changes whether they will be eligible for that unemployment any longer.
And that's exactly what I was expecting to happen, but I didn't have that definitely, because the problem is we have so many contractors and employees. Those are so different. So, your contractors, we're getting unemployment right now, which is amazing, but that's all going to change once that once that executive order goes through, that we can go back to work. So we might not have to worry about that, but also there's also something in place that states that if our people that work for us whether they're contractors or employees, that we cannot, an owner cannot fire them because they don't want to come back to work. But that doesn't mean that they're still going to be getting unemployment, like Terry just said, right, Terry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they could choose not to come back, but they won't necessarily get the unemployment. Is that right, Terry?
Correct. If they've been offered work back, then yes, it will change definitely their eligibility.
Okay, so that kind of answers that. So it will really depend on whether they can sustain themselves without getting it. But I don't think that we will have to worry about that as owners.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that helped a lot. And then again, we're getting this question for every single industry. I think this is something that a lot of people are struggling with and facing, especially owners. So hopefully we get more clarification on that as well. So another question is, what are you planning to wear as far as clothes? Some have mentioned wearing scrubs. Others have mentioned wearing t-shirts and jeans for easy washing. Some have mentioned not changing their wardrobes and just dressing up in normal dress-up work clothes. Thoughts?
So in our plan of action, we definitely are saying in our recommendations that and this comes from the medical professionals that I've been talking to. They've been very, very awesome helping me with this plan of action and helping all of us gain insight to how they're doing it daily. So they highly recommend wearing clothing that can be washed excessively and with ease, because they're definitely saying to take your clothes off when you get home outside. You have all your clothes in a pile in your hands, you walk in your door, you put it in your washing machine right then, and you wash it, hot soapy water, because you don't want to be bringing that in. And then you got to make sure that you go back and you Lysol or sanitize and properly clean your doorknobs and everything that you walked in to get into the washing machine. So that's also something you got to make sure. So keeping Lysol handy and so forth. So personally, recommendations, and Terry, you can kind of maybe speak for yourself too. I think that we both stand where I personally think scrubs or jeans and a t-shirt. So my staff has chosen to wear jeans or, just some kind of easy washable pants. And our K-Bella, my salon's name is K-Bella. So we're going to wear like a staff t-shirt because we can just wash it every day. So that way we feel kind of cute still in our industry, but we also have something that is washable. I don't think people should be wearing anything that's dangly or that's going to be touching too much stuff. I think that we might have to back off a little bit. We might have to wear, our hair in ponytails and buns. That's actually in our plan. Doing things that are kind of out of our nature, but I think until this really has, this virus has a, I'm losing the word, but you know what I'm saying, a vaccine, I just don't think that, while we're in a pandemic, that dressing cute and having our hair down and curled is safe. Terry, what do you feel about that? Did I cover everything?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty, consensus that as long as we have to wash our clothes, right after, and we're concerned about transmitting that way, then we do need to make it something very easy for our staff to handle, or for yourself personally if you're on your own. So I think just making sure dry, clean clothes just aren't really a great option at this point. So do our best to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, I agree. And your hair, our hair is very porous. So the hair can definitely, the medical teams told me that it can be carried through hair, but I don't say that saying that I know 100% because I am not a medical professional. but that just scared me. And, you know, you think about how much time you get your hair out of your face and you're touching your face because of your hair. So I'm just recommending having your hair pulled back, because the last thing you want is doing a highlight and this to happen. And then you're all like, you know, so just thinking about those things. So that's a great question.
Yeah, that's a really great tip. Thank you guys for that. Again, still staying on the employee aspect here, when it comes to bringing your employees back to work safely. So some things that we've been hearing are the guidelines for taking people's temperatures, you know, special forms they fill out, making sure that we give people your employees an ID number instead of using their actual name, make sure they're protecting, you know, all the different rules that are out there. What are your thoughts on this? Do you have any recommendations? Is there certain guidelines that you recommend for salons and spas to be following for this?
So with what in Michigan, I've spoke to a lot of nursing homes and a lot of people in professions that have went back to work. And everyone so far that I've talked to going back to work has specifically told me that they have to take temperature when someone enters the building, and this is everyone, staff, clients, everyone. And they have to document that. And then they also have to document when they leave, so that you have a full documentation on what their temperature was when they entered your building and what their temperature was when you exited their building. So that is currently what we are saying in our plan of action because of that, and also using a infrared touchless thermometer. Now, we also have questions because is everyone going to be able to get a touchless infrared thermometer? I don't know. I worry about that. I also know that we want to try to make sure that we are thinking that everyone we want to work as though we think people have COVID, so that we're working safer, so that we're not, you know, just assuming someone asymptomatic doesn't have it, because you would never know. So I think that it is, you know, the nursing homes, they didn't state anything to me about IDs versus names, but I do know that that is something that we have to take into consideration. And then Terry, I wanted you to speak too on this, because you had something I think also that we talked about with this, that we don't necessarily know yet whether or not we need to have people sign waivers and so forth.
Yeah, there is some unclear, you know, it's not whether that is even allowed or not. You know, you can ask some screening questions, you know, have you had a cough, or, you know, have you felt ill, those types of things. You know, there's been recommendations, essentially, you could do that prior to them even scheduling an appointment, or you could do that when they actually come in. But I think one of the primary things about tracking, you know, the temperature thing is still kind of out, you know, up for debate. It is something that we are recommending, of course, but the biggest part of that is the tracking of the people that are coming in and exiting, because if for some reason someone does get the virus and has been in your building, they want to know exactly when and who else was in that building at the same time, so that everybody can be notified and tested to make sure that they're not transmitted. So that's going to be one of the biggest things, is controlling it should someone get it. And our part in doing that is to know who was in and who left. So one point of entry, someone to check them in, and then someone to check them out, you know, just to track that and have that information available.
That's perfect. Yep. And I did see that we do have a few HR professionals on here on this call with us today too. So if you guys have any further insight on that, please feel free to chime in. So kind of, again, with going along the resource guidelines, is there any sites or any resource guides out there that you could direct people to in terms of helping them maybe create a COVID plan to have in their workplace for their own employees or for clients as they come in?
Yeah, we plan on our website being that bridge. On our website currently, we are making sure that we have every grant possible, any kind of service that could help any of you. We want to make sure we have that. So please send us if we've missed anything. We also want to make sure that we have, you know, our plan of action, our back to work plan. Once we have it finalized, we want to post that. And it won't be an official one, obviously, but it would be something that they could post. We're trying to make it in 2 versions. One version that's more creative, so that you can hang it in your salon, and your more creative stylists, or anyone in your building who has a hard time looking at a bulleted list, if that's too much for their brain to handle, we want to try to have a plan that's easier, an easier read, I guess I should say. And we want to try to have all of this done hopefully by next week or so that people can start planning. But it is unofficial, and we just don't know 100% on the forward motion until we really talk to Lansing. And Terry, did you have anything else to add to that? I want to make sure I didn't miss anything, because that's kind of a very important.
Yeah, no, I think you covered it, and I just think we'll continue to add more resources. I know, Molly, you guys mentioned you have the PPE, supply list available, and I think those are things that we'll continue to add, and just as more things become available, we'll want to keep it, we'll keep it up to date.
Yeah, and for anyone that did join late, are you able to just talk about your site one more time, the resources on there, what it is, and why it's important for people to join?
Yeah, so the Michigan, mibeautypros.org, and we really are just trying to unite everybody. So we want to have one place for all the industry professionals, spa, salon, barbershops, where you guys can all go to one place and have answers, and one contact person to get answers. So that way there's no confusion. Everyone in our industry, every Michigander is on the same page in our industry. And that's what we want, so that we can safely go back to work and we can all stay working. That's the biggest, my biggest, that's what I'm focusing on the most, because when we go back, we can't afford to go back out of work again. I mean, I know that it's been really challenging, and I know it's challenging not only financially, but mentally. So I worry about people's mental health. I worry about all of that. I worry about suicide in these times. I worry about all of that. And I think it's so important. So I think that, if we have a good path that we all can follow, then we can all go back safely and stay back working. But I don't think that's going to happen unless we all follow a specific plan, because all it's going to take is one salon to have, a big, blow up of cases and an area, and to have a spike in the system. And then we could potentially be put out of work again, or put out of work, not even by the government, but because we're sick. So I think these are all, every resource possible we are trying to find. So we want help. So if anyone wants to help us, reach out to us. We have our email addresses and our website right in there where you can contact us, because we know we don't have all the answers. We know that there's some great ideas out there that we would love to know from. And we also know that we're still a small organization. We are at around 1,000 people, and it's not even close to enough people to unite us in this state. So I just want everyone to realize that once we're together, we're going to be so much more impactful. So when we worry about deregulation, like barber deregulation is going on right now, we don't want that to happen. So we all need to be together so that we can take action quickly.
Yeah, I think that's such an amazing resource that you guys have. And I do highly recommend, encourage everyone to get out there and sign up with them. I thank you for even having that available. It looks like we just have 2 more questions, so I want to make sure I get to them. The first question is blow drying clients' hair. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to let Terry answer this one, because she actually, I got some research, then she got some research that was, new. So I want her to talk about this one. We've talked about this a lot.
Yeah. I feel like, again, and there's so much gray and ambiguity. So I wish we had such black and white answers in some of these areas. I know there is a lot of debate about blow drying, and just the fact, even for the service provider that is now wearing a mask and a shield, and is trying to work with someone in this strange new dynamic, is blow drying even effective? It's making everyone uncomfortable in some sense. So I think you have to determine that for your service providers, especially who are already worried, hot from having the mask on their face. There has been an article that quoted the CDC as saying that blow drying does not spread the virus. But what I really want to find is, where did that come from? Did someone just quote the CDC saying they said that? I saw that in an article and so we're still digging to find out is that true. I know there's So apparently there, yeah, you guys probably knows there was kind of one of those hoaxes that said blow drying actually cured it. So it's hard to get through all of that, you know, research, different types of conversations around blow drying. But so it's still up for debate on whether it's something that actually spreads or not. So Kristen, what do you have on that conversation?
So the biggest thing that I would say, and this is coming from people who are already back to work. So Terry's right on. We don't know. We medical professionals are there. We're getting two answers. We're getting one answer that when you're outside, you should be 12 feet apart. So when I think of wind outside, I think of a blow dryer. So that makes me worry. But then you also have articles saying that blow drying doesn't affect anything. Are they just saying that because they want us to go back to work? I don't know. So until I get a definite answer from a medical professional or someone that has actually studied that and they actually have shown me proof, I'm not going to speak on that topic, whether or not it's right or wrong. But what I will say, coming from a lot of individuals from other salons and spas down in Georgia and my two girls in Maine who are going back, they have decided that blow drying will not be something that they're going to focus on, or shampooing. They're only going to be shampooing clients who get hair color in their hair. They're asking the clients to come with their hair washed and clean. They're performing more dry cuts, or they're performing more haircuts and then they're letting them go wet. Now, you know, as someone who teaches hair cutting for a living, that scares me too, right? Because we can't finish our haircuts a lot of times when they're not blow dried. So that terrifies me. You know, I'm not going to be doing a bob and being like, all right, see you later, girlfriend. I hope that undercut's good. You know, so I get it, girls. And guys, I understand that that is going to be a challenge not to blow dry. But what I think and what I recommend is if you have people that don't need a blow dry, if you have people that don't need a shampoo, if you have people that don't need a head massage, you know, certain things, anything that's non-essential in our atmosphere, I think that, you know, try to let it go, because I think that our goal should be getting people in and out faster. And the reason is A, to protect them for safety and health. B, because we need to make more money because we're going to be booking less people and we're not going to be double booking. We're not going to have as many clients in the salon. We're going to be like making less money. So we need that. And we need more time for cleaning. You know, we need that good 15-minute buffer time so we can make sure everything is sanitized and disinfected. So getting people in and out faster. So anything that you can do that you could take away a service, I would recommend doing, just because our overhead in salons is so expensive. And I am looking at it more at a financial standpoint at this point, because I don't know the medical side. The other thing that I would recommend too is not discounting your services and just letting people know that this is something you're trying to do to protect them and yourself, but do not discount your services. This is not a time for that. And I will say that, and that's an opinion of mine, but I'm telling you that because I truly believe that you don't need to. It's a time, technically we should be charging more because we're doing more precautions, we're taking more time on them, but it's going to be too hard to actually raise your prices when the economy is where it is. So I recommend dropping some of your services that are non-essential and keeping your prices and being firm, but just making sure that you have signage or you tell your clients prior to the service before you touch them so that they know. You don't want them to find out at the end of the service, which I know you guys are all professionals and would never do that anyway, but that's the only thing that we really can say right now on blow drying. But as soon as we get those answers, we're going to be blasting it everywhere.
I think also, I'm sorry, I just want to add something to that also about the pricing. I think that's really important to maintain because you haven't seen these clients in a really long time. It's going to be a lot of additional product. And for those of you that are in some areas, I really would keep that in mind when you're bringing your guests back, you know, if that, you know, will be additional, or at least let them know that that is, you know, something that's happening, because that's definitely going to be a cost to you.
Yeah, that's a great point. I do want to be respectful of everyone's time and of course both of yours. So the last question I kind of want to ask you guys are, do you have any final words of advice or any final thoughts that you would like to leave this group with today?
Well, I think the main objective and what I want everyone to know is that we are all together in this. So if you're feeling lost, or if you're feeling sad, or if you're feeling like things are just falling apart, just know that we are all with you. We are all in the same place, and we're not going to fail. Our industry is creative. We're smart. We are strong leaders, we will get back to work somehow. We will figure this out. We will sustain, and we will be amazing like we always have been. And people love us. And I have no doubt in my mind that we are going to come back stronger in our industry from this. We're going to learn from this. We're going to do things better. We're moving forward. We're always going to stay cleaning stuff and sanitizing things better. We're going to all just really up our game. And I think that if there's anyone out there feeling scared, reach out to us. Me and Terry, we have so many connections with people, and we love to help people. So if you're feeling lost and you just need that hand to hold, we're here for you, and we get it. So we're just in this together. And Terry, do you have anything to say, honey?
I just want to, it's a little bit on that. As I think as entrepreneurs and business owners, when we hit a rough patch, it's our first instinct to, what are we going to, we want to control this and be able to make decisions. And just even sitting here with all of your questions, we want those answers. So I think right now, in order to, like Kristen said, get us through, we just have to stay as knowledgeable and keep the conversations going and keep asking the questions until we do get that definitive answer and can create an action plan from there. So that's really what our group is all about. Every time someone asks us a new question, it's so helpful because it makes sure that our plan is all encompassing and it gets everybody's unique situation included. I just saw that someone asked about putting partitions between chairs. That's exactly we don't really know the answer. Again, it's one of those things that, yes, it's been recommended and talked about, but should you go invest in partitions and then we get the okay and that doesn't happen. So it's very much right now we're in that, let's get as much information as possible and ask for information from our leaders in Lansing so that we can start to make some plans.
I couldn't agree with you more. And someone also asked earlier if we would have a follow-up forum similar to this one, and we very well might. I mean, just because there's still so much uncertainty, once we do get more answers, we might be asking Chris to join us again in the future if she's able to, and Terry. So we'll definitely keep you updated with that. But Chris and Terry, both of you, we cannot thank you enough for joining us today, for being a part of this, for all of the expertise that you were able to provide. Thank you so, so much. It truly means a lot.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. We were very, very, very thankful for you guys reaching out, and we just hope that we can be here for you guys. So you guys just take our information, use and abuse us. We love it. And if you want to join our organization, or if you even want to be, we're looking at doing interviews for new board members. So if you want to join and you want to get involved, we would love to have someone in your area, because we're both south of you guys. So we would love to have someone up there that is part of our organization. So reach out to us for sure. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks again for joining. Have a great day, everyone.